start to let loose, and I want people that's been renting for years to start owning things. I want people that's been in debt all their life to start coming up out of debt. I want people that's used to being turned down all of a sudden to start getting stamped with approval. But if we're divided, things are going to be hindered. Look at your neighbor and say, do you understand what Pastor's saying this morning? We got to get on one accord and stay there. Understand, the enemy would love nothing more than to come in the church by way of demons and folk that allow demons to use them and tear up the choir. He would like nothing more than to have an access or a door into the praise team that he can tear up the praise team so that the blessings of God don't fall the way God wants them to fall. He would love nothing more but to get in the evangelistic ministry and cause mess to break out so that souls won't be saved, so that the work of God would be hindered. He loved nothing more than to get up in the women ministry and have one sister talking about another sister. But it's time out for this silly mess. Time out for talking about she said, he said. Now cut all of that out and go to the source. Cut all of that out and go to the person, that's been talking junk, and take with you the person they was talking about and let them say it in front of them. That's the way you get rid of mess. That's the way you stomp the devil when he try to pick up his head. Mess gets started when folk go to somebody talking about so-and-so been talking about you. Well, who is so-and-so? I can't tell you who it is. You don't really want to get the mess solved then. Notice Proverbs. Let's deal with strife for a minute. Again, because strife deals with contentions, quarrelings, arguing, fighting, bickering. And isn't it sad when this is happening in God's house? Again, especially to the point to where God can't release what he so desperately desires to release. I know what I'm about to say is going to be hard for some of us to receive, but receive it anyhow. God wants to bless us more than we want to be blessed. God wants to work out for us things that need to be worked out. Oh, see, some of you that flew right over your head because you really don't believe God wants you blessed. But how many believe this morning that God wants you blessed more than you want to be blessed? Yeah, God wants to see everybody blessed. He's not a respecter of person. But again, if we are not on the same page, instead of experiencing God's best, ruin is going to be taking place. Instead of going up, we're going to be going what? Down. And that's the reason some churches and so forth can't move forward right now, because of division or strife. Now let's deal with strife in Proverbs 26 and 20. Notice Proverbs 26 and 20. Notice now, you got to really catch this. Notice what Solomon said, Proverbs 26, 20. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. Where there is no wood, the fire goes what? In other words, if you're going to maintain a fire, you need something to burn. If there's nothing to burn, the fire will cease. Oh, y'all know we're going somewhere because we ain't dealing with no fire this morning. And where there is no talebearer, strife what? Ceases. Where there is no gossiper, strife ceases. Where there is no whisperers, strife ceases. Wherever you got strife, You got people that love to run their mouth even though they may or may not know what they're talking about. But if we can end the talebearer, if we can cut off the gossip, the strife will what? Cease. If we can control our mouth, it'll cut down on some of the bickering. See, some of you ain't saying nothing. You might be one of the main ones I'm talking to right now. That the reason so much confusion is in your house, the reason so much confusion is in your midst is because you love to run your, see, it didn't get many. You love to run your, but Solomon said, where there is no talebearer. Anytime there's gossiping going on, there is going to be strife. And some of us are so connected, so hooked up on gossiping, that if we cut out the gossiping, we probably wouldn't talk for a while. Some of us don't know how to operate on a day-to-day basis without gossiping about something or somebody. And the one that's quiet right now, the one that can't lift up their hand, the one that can't smile right now, they may be the gossipers. You know, folk, that every time you see them, they start off by saying, have you heard? And that immediately is just like a bait on a hook to some of us. No, we hadn't heard, but once the people say, have you heard? Next thing we know, the hook is in our jaw. Tell me so I can pray. Tell me because I want to intercede for whatever is going on. Have you heard what's going on up in such and such ministry? Have you heard what Pastor so-and-so did over yonder? Tell you that we have to learn how to mind our own business. Even when it comes to family, just because somebody is in your family doesn't mean you need to always go sticking your nose in their business. Gonna get a little tight this morning. But we need to drive out division. We need to mark the talebearer. We need to know where the gossipers are there. If there's a gossiper up in the house, we need to make that person known. We need to let folk know when you see them hanging around her, hey, don't hang with sister so-and-so. She loved to run her mouth. No, don't get caught up hanging with them. All they do is keep a bunch of mess going on, talking about what ain't right when there's 1,000 things that's going right. Some folk just dwell on what's negative or wrong. They can't see what's right or what's good. But it'll cease. You can ever get to the source of who started. And I come to tell you, there are times you got to pull folks in from the left. You got to pull them in from the right until you get everybody that said something in the same room and let them speak then. Got to know how to get it out. Notice Proverbs 29:22. Man, you say, why Pastor preaching like that? Because I want to see corporate blessings. I don't want to see nothing hindering families from having what God wants them to have. And if we are divided, the blessings are hindered. But if we step up to the plate this morning and be willing to get things right, if we'll step up to the plate and be willing to admit, yeah, we're divided, but Pastor, we want to get on one accord. We want to stop the silliness today, and we want to have the same mind. We want to stop going each one in their own direction, and we want to start pulling together, because there's power when we pull together. When we pull against one another, nobody is going to be helped. But if we can get on one accord, if as a church family we can decide once and for all that this is a year of 10 times better, then God will not only show up and bless one side of the church, but he'll